So let's say that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're feeling good most of the time. And you meditate every day and you align and what's in your vortex is easily received by you and you follow your impulses and you just feel really good most of the time. You rest well and you follow your bliss. You make lists of positive aspects and you just feel really good. That's what you emanate. And so that's who you attract. That's just who you attract. But you are also an expanding being. And you are never going to be without some gap. So there's always going to be something that you're going to ask for that is going to call more to you, sometimes through them. So start with the idea that you're tuned in, so most of them are too. That feels pretty good. Now start with the idea that you're not so tuned in and most of them aren't. But in any case, you're in the driver's seat. In any case, you're the one who's attracting the behavior or the words or the whatever to which you are having an emotional response that you are blaming on them. We know we are repeating over and over again, but we really want you to leave here knowing that whatever's coming to you is by your invitation. You might be creating by default. Esther was. She was offering a vibration that she would not admit until she saw evidence under the lens of a new emphasis that there is no assertion, there's only attraction. And she had to admit once and for all, I'm doing this to myself and using you as the cooperative component pawn who is giving it to me. That's freedom, folks. That's freedom. That's freedom. So now you might be saying, well, there's more for me to do and I can get better at this. But what we want you to hear from us is that you've sensed this for a long time, maybe even before you met us. And you were surrounded by those who refused to let you blame them. So you've been turning this back on yourself for a long time. Mm-hmm. And that's why you feel not prepared or not good at it and so willing to take the blame. But your inner being is not blaming you. There's no blame. That's like driving off on the shoulder of the road and feeling the little bumps under your tires and then being so embarrassed that you went out of your lane for a minute when the guideposts are there all along. All right, so now where are we? Where are you? Are you all right?
Yeah. Feeling quite good. And then in that moment where there's something that I legitimately would just love to change his behavior so that I felt better, I know for sure that that is not what I really want.
If that person would change his behavior so that you would feel better, all of this conversation has been a waste of time.
That's what I mean. I don't want anyone to have to change their behavior.
And you'll never, ever be able to get to where you want to be because you're counting on things that are external rather than things that are internal. It's got to be between you and your inner being, you and your inner being. That's the harmony you're reaching for. And when you find harmony between you and your inner being who's lined up with everything you want, then others will be inspired to give you the things that are in your vortex, not the things that you didn't put in there. Isn't that nice? You put things in your vortex. It sounds a little bit like we're trying to teach her how to make him be different so that she can get what she wants. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. Because he is like the cosmos. He's like the universe. He's like all of the people. He's like the whole conglomeration of all of the people. And he has the likelihood of responding to the dominant vibrations that you are offering. Everyone is. So now we're sort of back to where we were. If you can hang in there for just 2 or 3 more minutes, you're going to have a breakthrough. We all are going to have a breakthrough about human co-creation. We think we've convinced you pretty good. You were right there on the verge of understanding this. You've understood it in other times. So you're right here understanding that there's no assertion, there's only attraction, and that you get what you offer. You accept that, you own that, and from this point forward, you'll pay attention to that. But what about the other person? Now, this is really interesting. The other person's doing exactly the same thing. So there's 2 of you who might be in alignment and you might not be. So let's say this other person, like you previously in this conversation, has some hang-ups about a relationship and they're really active in his vibration. And you've got some hang-ups. So don't you make a perfect match? But in this case, we helped you not be a perfect match to those hang-ups. So if you're not a perfect match to those hang-ups, even though he's got those hang-ups, is he going to be able to evoke those from you if they're not active in you?
Right. No.
If you don't have those hang-ups and he does, are you going to be able to evoke them from him if they're not active in you?
No.
He's got all these relationship hang-ups, let's say, and he's really worried. He's scared of a relationship. You called him in for a minute and he remembered how good you are, and then his old relationship hang-ups came flooding to the forefront, and you met him right there. But now we've had this conversation, you're not so likely to meet him there. You're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're focused upon positive aspects, not just of him, but of life in general or relationships in general. So that's not active in you. So if it's not active in you, can he meet you there?
No.
One who's connected to source energy is more powerful than millions who aren't. So doesn't it feel logical that every relationship that you have will be transformed with this new clarity that you are now emitting? And isn't this why earlier in our conversation today, we were wanting you to not be so wanting to look at what is? Because when you look at what is, you just keep it. This was a really wonderful conversation because you now understand how things are coming to you and why people treat you the way you do. Esther said to someone the other day, you are being inconsiderate of me. You're being inconsiderate of me. And Esther's thought was, and I'm considerate of everyone. I'm considerate of everyone, and you should be considerate of everyone, especially me. You should especially be considerate of me. And then she remembered there's no assertion. So nobody can assert their inconsideration at her. There had to be something active in her that was inviting it in. And when her thoughts went in that direction, she found 5 things.
And then what do you do when you find those things? Because when I
laugh and acknowledge and understand and let them off the hook and let you off the hook and thank the universe for the blessing of understanding and move forward and let that resistance lift off of you, and notice that even though others will be inconsiderate, it will never be to that degree again, and you can clean it up anytime it happens.
So beating up on yourself is the not correct answer then?
It's the default position for a lot of humanings because you don't want to blame others, because you know what happens? When you say to someone, you're inconsiderate of me, you know what they do back? You were badder than me. No, you were the baddest one. No, you were the baddest one. No, you were the baddest one. As everybody loses their mind and is no longer in alignment with who they really are. We're exaggerating this ever so slightly. Feel better? Doesn't it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? Anyone?
Yeah, I do have one. This one is very quick. I have a dog, the most fabulous dog on earth. His name is Rico. I asked about him once before in the hot seat. He has now his own vortex. He is the Eddie Bauer catalog dog. For 2018, I did nothing to make this happen. They saw him randomly and chose him. And I wanted to ask about his
some
vortex.
of that's not true.
Okay.
In other words, you did have something to do with it.
Oh, okay. That was my question. Then also, I have found several lumps all over him that he is going to get checked out in the next week or two. And I'm curious about that because he's so wonderful and he's 5, and I kept saying, I just wish he could be 5 forever. And then I'm like, no, I don't want you to die.
So if you're going to own it.
Yes, I am.
Is he the most fabulous dog in the world, or is he a lumpy dog?
He's the most fabulous dog in the world.
You get to choose.
Okay.
Pick one.
Okay, thank you.
Pick one.
He's the most fabulous dog. He is.
Pick it.
He is.
Anything else you want to say about him other than how fabulous he is?
No, thank you.
Yeah, good.